Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for joining us today on our webinar on best practices for your brand during COVID-19. My name is Rachel Seymour Kiesling, and I serve as the Biloxi Division Director and Operations Manager at the Mississippi Gulf Coast Chamber of Commerce, where you all know our mission is to connect, inform, advocate, and develop. I want to thank our panelists from the focus group for joining us today and sharing their expertise. We have Allison Buchanan, who serves as the CEO, a native of the coast. She has a degree in journalism and PR and art from the University of Mississippi. We have Haley Miles, the business development manager at the focus group, a native of South Mississippi with a BA in marketing and accounting and an MBA from the University of Southern Mississippi. And then, of course, we have Jace Payne, business development and public relations strategist. He is a native of South Mississippi with a BA in mass communications from the University of Southern Mississippi. Thank you all, and I'm going to hand the floor over to you.
As she mentioned, these are our team that's on here today. I'm the CEO, and I just wanted to introduce our program today. We are a Mississippi-based company. We're based right here in Biloxi. We started in 2008 as more of a creative shop, and we have evolved into a results-driven full-service firm. Somebody was asking me the other day, we're not really an advertising agency. We are full-service consulting all the way from research and strategic planning, all types of marketing, advertising, creative, public relations, video, web, and storytelling. We have a great team. We've won a lot of awards over the years from different organizations ranging from advertising to PR. We have local, state, and national clients that we are actively working on now, and we don't believe any client is too small or too large. Whatever size you are, we'd love to hear your challenges and try to help you solve problems. For us, as the focus group, and adapting to the current situation, we were fortunate that we had technology in place that allowed us to begin working from home on pretty short notice on March 18th. So we as a team have been working from our homes since then, and we believe it's changed us for the better. We were all using Zoom. We were all using Microsoft Teams. We were all using our server access, but not to the extent that we are now. We weren't all completely well versed in it. And now every morning at 8 a.m., our team has an 8 o'clock team meeting where we go over the plans for the day, what everybody's working on. And then we use Microsoft Teams to do little mini conversations by text, by chat, by video, by phone. And it's really changed us for the better. It's forced us into using our technology to its fullest, and we still have more that we can learn. But we're integrating our clients into that technology. And we started this out saying we were determined not to miss a beat for our clients. And we're practicing what we preach. All of our clients have had some sort of need, and we've been there for them on the front lines. We feel like our role is an important one to help businesses get through this time. We're working weekends, nights, whatever it takes to help clients. And that's why we're here today, because we want to be able to share some of our knowledge. Our team has been doing a lot of research, keeping up with what kinds of trends have been happening out there from different brands, small and large. And so today we're going to share with you some of that insight. And I'll leave y'all with that before we hand it over to Haley and Jace. Richard Edelman, who is the head of one of the largest PR firms in the country, he had a very insightful quote saying this global crisis will fundamentally change how we think, behave, and consume. There is no rapid return to normal. It's not like instantly we're just going to all go back to what we were doing, because we've all been changed. We've all started doing grocery shopping online. We've started doing a lot of things that we didn't before, some of which will all be better for it. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jace and Haley, and they will share some of the insights that we've gathered.
Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to recap what we'll cover today. And I'll go ahead and apologize for anybody who might hear a baby. He is also wanting to know about his brand. Today's agenda, we're going to cover brand messaging, brand and content strategy, how to support your customers while working remotely. Allison covered some of the things that we're doing, and we'll dive a little bit into some other ways that you can reach out to your customers while at home, management and strategy for your company's digital platforms, best practices there, and then ways to stay innovative for your clients during this time. So one of the things that I wanted to start out with, and this really stuck out to me, is that there's a risk of losing brand equity that you might have been working on very hard if you go completely dark right now. The chief investment officer at Havas Media, which is a very large media firm, said there's a risk of losing brand equity when advertising goes dark, and an opportunity to use this time to build and reinforce a brand's relationship with their customers and prospects. It's critical to understand what your customers are looking for right now. It might be reassurance about your store cleanliness efforts or your support for affected employees rather than your core products. So we'll dive a little bit into how you can communicate to your clients right now. People want to hear from you. There was a survey conducted with 1,000 consumers March 18th, which, everything's changing day by day, but this was in March 18th that 56% of consumers were happy to hear how brands were helping communities in response to the pandemic. 43% of consumers find it reassuring to hear from brands they know and trust during these uncertain times. And another 40% of consumers want to hear how brands are responding to the crisis, such as their cleaning procedures, like we talked about, and some other things we'll dive into. 15% of consumers said they did not want to hear from brands at the time. So that's a pretty small amount of people who are not wanting to hear compared to the people and the numbers that are showing people want to hear from you right now and what your brand and your company is doing during this time.
That rolls into brand messaging. Good morning, everybody. Right now, it's just critical to make sure that you're not forcing anything into your messaging for your brand during this time. You really just want to make sure that you're fitting into your community, you're being resourceful. So make sure you're not trying to force anything out there that may seem pushy to consumers or to your clients. Being helpful, great marketing and advertising really shows through empathy. You want to be the helpful one in conversations with people around the community. A lot of businesses are turning to, hey, if we don't have content right now to push about our business because we're not operating, then how can we help our community? How can we help people that we do business with? And we'll talk more about that as well. And right now, your brand needs to emphasize trust and reliability, not only to your clients and the general public, but to your employees as well. It's very important to know what's most important for your company and your team first up. And then what are you doing to make sure that the public knows that you are to be trusted and you're emphasizing with the situation at hand. So this is a time for your brand to really show guidance and leadership in your respected industries. And it's showing in a lot of these examples. And so naturally, Nike being one of the probably the largest sports company and retail company, one of the largest in the world, this ad has made its rounds on the wire. It's still relevant. Nike just came out with another ad yesterday that's brilliant. I recommend that you take a look at it. But this one has been doing just great, and it's a sentence and then a tagline. So if you ever dreamed of playing for millions around the world, now is your chance. Play inside, play for the world. That is Nike promoting social distancing. And so not only did they shut down stores across countries, but they wanted to make sure that they were doing their part, and they also wanted to make sure that they were sticking to their brand. And so they stuck to what their brand messaging usually is. I mean, it's short and sweet and precise and genius, but also making sure that they were being team players for the better good of humanity right now. And that's just so important for every company, whether you're a small business on the Mississippi Gulf Coast or if you're a large corporate business in the southeastern region. And so right now, we're not too sure how much longer this is going to last. How long are we going to be in a shelter in place? How long is the economy going to be halted? We're all working on a day-to-day basis right now, really. But we have to make sure that our businesses, that our clients, that our brands are ready for when the green light is turned on and we do get back to normalcy. Because when that does happen, people are going to want to get out. They're going to want to go shopping again. They're going to want to be in your business. And so you need to be prepared. And people are creating new habits, And a lot of them are like digital habits, like shopping, education, and more. People are on their phones and computers right now more than ever. Potentially they're on social media more than we've ever seen before since social media has been around. And so it's just an incredible time digitally, and something very important for you, that you've been growing these platforms, you've been growing your social media pages, to not go dark and to stay consistent and stay relevant in your community. And that moves into brand and content strategy. And so you really want to review your content with a fine-tooth comb. Really ensure that your brand does not come across as tone deaf. We're seeing that even with a lot of really big corporations and big brands. It's been really interesting to see, but it's making sure that you're emphasizing with the crisis at hand. You know, don't exploit the crisis. Make sure that you're there for your customers and your clients. Businesses and marketers should not be thinking about what to say, rather they should be thinking about what to do. And in those actions, that will then dictate what your brand should be doing and what you should be saying. And inspiration is key right now. And we're seeing it all across social media, and it's great to see, during such times as this, people want companies to act in ways that are appropriate. We saw some statistics earlier that's what consumers and the general public are wanting to see. What are you doing right now to help for the greater good? We need inspiration. And so brands are making an impact in their community. There is a collective, we're all in this together mindset, especially here in coastal Mississippi. We all know the one coast mindset that we all push and want to be a part of. And that does not falter here as well. We all need to be there for one another. We all need to help one another. And through this, we will get through it together. And then surprising and delighting your customers. Although this is a time to be mindful of your content, it's very important to know what you're saying, and honestly trust your gut. If you think it's something that is questionable and you're not sure if you probably shouldn't post it right now. But do not go dark, because like I said earlier, you've built all this time and money into building your social platforms. You can't just go dark altogether, because at some point you're going to want to resume normal operations and promote your business and potential products and everything like that. But you need to make sure that you're staying, you still have a content calendar. You're being resourceful. And so while the world practices social distancing, people will continue to seek out community and connections with others through digital channels. As we're seeing people having happy hour on Zoom. Brands can respond in kind by making customers feel valued and cared for, and showing appreciation, engaging their brand through love. And this is something does your brand have the offerings that could support people in this time? And does your brand have something that could spread joy to customers right now? It's all very important in rounding back to your brand and to your brand message.
I'll jump in on this example of just bringing joy. I personally am a Disney fan and a Frozen fan, and this was one that Disney did. It was very on brand for them. They released Frozen 2 early on their Disney Plus platform, but the feedback that they got on social media from parents who, I don't think they were quite expecting that they were giving some parents relief for a couple hours that are working remotely. And it was something that was a surprise to children as well, that they had access to something that they would not have normally had access to, Disney Plus, as quick and as early as they launched it. So this was kind of a surprise, but it brought a lot of joy to a lot of people, and me personally as well. Another example is Mercedes-Benz and Audi. Both posted free coloring pages featuring new and classic models. They have all of these really in-depth coloring pages on their social media platforms and their website. They range from a child's style coloring page with not as many details to the very intricate, detailed coloring pages that adults have in coloring books. And this was on brand for them because it featured their cars, but also it was out of the box thinking. This is a time where people have time on their hands to do things like this. And so they're still staying relevant. They didn't go dark. They're staying in front of people in a creative, out of the box way.
So going back, as a rule of thumb, avoid paid and organic content that features, content around mass gatherings. We know that we cannot be in a crowd of 10 or more people right now. So make sure that we're not promoting festivals, concerts, or anything like that. There is an opportunity as people are trying to reschedule these events, but it's still something that you want to, just kind of stay light on right now as far as promotions. Ads promoting canceled or rescheduled events. It's always good to double check them. Content driving in-store foot traffic. Be sure to check your email campaigns. Make sure all your constant contacts are pushing, relevant content right now and not things that you were offering, a month ago. Imagery that shows people, physically touching or being close together. We're just trying to stay away from that right now, as you'll see brands are even moving their logos farther away to promote social distancing. Captions and copy that could come across as insensitive, of course, during this crisis, such as one too many and one-to-one responses that make light of any situation. You really want to stay away from that, and copy that may spread misinformation, or if intended as a joke. I mean, it's good for us to laugh and be happy and to find the bright spots during this, but that's on more of a personal level. As a brand, you really want to stay true to just being a resource and being there for your customers and your clients right now. And so strategy and ideas, what we can do, what small businesses can do on the Gulf Coast, go live. I saw one of my friend's mothers last night, who she owns a hair salon in Destin. She also owned one on the Mississippi Gulf Coast for, I think, 20 plus years. And one thing that she is doing is she's going live every night at 6:30, and she is going through ways to help women figure out how to do their hair on their own and do makeup. And it's something that I've watched, and it started with 2 or 3 people, and now it's at 15 to 20, and she's really enjoying it. And that's something that I just thought was a great example, and it's something that she figured out on her own, and we're seeing more and more of that. And then, of course, share information about your team. Now is a great time to let your following know a little bit more about your business and get that insider perspective. We have the opportunity now to show people how we lead companies, how we lead through situations with our clients. And so that's really just a great opportunity right now. Current market conditions with your specific industry, trends in those positions. And so really, there's honestly kind of this vibe out there that we're not even worried about competitors in industries right now. We're all in this together. And so sharing things that are relevant to your industry don't really come off as insensitive. It's just staying up to date, keeping information out there. And then sharing resources specific to your business that could potentially help someone at home or at work during this time. And we're seeing a lot of this. We're seeing people, producing videos and businesses on ways to make face masks, homemade hand sanitizer and cleaning supplies. And that moves into these next couple of slides where we have seen Lazy Magnolia. They have been making hand sanitizer at their brewery. Cathead Distillery, same thing in Jackson. C-Spire and Sparklight offering free internet access for people as people to stay at home. And mainly this is for students and working with school districts. And so that's just such a great opportunity to not even, push your brand, but just adapt. You really have to adapt in this type of environment and figure out what you're going to do to help people. Blue Delta Jeans Company is making face masks out of their denim. And Coastal Mississippi is just doing a great job of showing their following what they can look forward to when they come back and when we bounce back, and what they need to come to Coastal Mississippi and visit for, as well as just spreading messages like they did. And I think everybody has seen what the Bow has done. It's a spectacular scene. It's something that all of us, I think, it warmed our hearts a good bit. And so just staying resourceful in any way you possibly can.
So how can you support your customers while working remotely? Allison went over a few things earlier that we're using Teams, we use Zoom. I actually used Zoom yesterday with a client and took over her screen to show her how to do a few things on her end in a web-based program. And so that was how we're helping. But one of the big things is stay connected. People want to hear from you, whether that's on social media, on Facebook, email blast. There's so many different ways that you can access people through technology right now. And you just need to utilize all of those different platforms. If you don't have a Facebook page for your business or for your brand, this is a great time to start one. They're simple. We're here to help if you ever needed help with something like that. look at your hours. What are your new hours? I know that the Mississippi Gulf Coast Chamber has been collecting data on different businesses on the coast to spread that type of information. Use all of those different platforms to educate people on what your new hours are. If you are on Google, go on Google and your My Business page and update your hours there. Do everything you can to make sure you're communicating the right things. Is there new offerings that your company has? We talked about the hand sanitizer. What else are you doing to break out and still offer things to clients? Strengthen your bonds with the community. A lot of people are adjusting to new daily routines. How can you fit into those routines? For some, that means they're working from home, but they also may be a teacher. They also may be running mommy or daddy daycare while doing all of these different things. So just adjusting to those different daily routines with your clients. If you're able to provide any resources or service, even if it's free, a downloadable color book like we talked about, if whatever Jace talked about, the hairstyling, there are so many different ways that you can reach out to people right now. Simply checking on a neighbor can go a long way. Simply checking on a client right now that you may have could build that relationship for a long time. And that goes into focus on your existing customers right now. It's much easier and less costly to market to existing customers versus trying to acquire new customers at this time. This is really not the time to be trying to gain new customers. It's about the time of focusing on who is already your client, who are your customers, and how you can help them. Of course, you might gain some new customers along the way, but what can you offer as additional products or services? Can you speed up a delivery for an additional fee? Can you sell more of the bulk discount? I know that there is a place here, I live in Wiggins, and there is a place here in Wiggins that is putting together people's Easter baskets for them. And she's doing a live thing and people are shopping and they're saying, oh, I want that. And then they put everything together. And there's another place that's putting together these bulk discount play outside kits that parents are, I think it had like 300 comments on that particular Facebook post because they're needing things right now. And you can definitely offer different types of products to fulfill those needs right now. Can you partner with another business? What does that look like? So moving into your company's digital platforms, build your brand awareness with your online audience. Web traffic is through the roof right now. People are on the internet. They're actively looking at different news sites. They're on Facebook. We've seen a 12.7% drop in our cost month over month in just a new Facebook account. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, people are on these digital platforms. It's time to audit the content on your website, social media, Google My Business, and anything else that the public is looking at right now about your business. It's the time to really look at those different types of content. One resource that I've been watching closely said, this is the time to really focus on your SEO, your search engine optimization. If you haven't taken that step in your website, this is the perfect time to gain that. You'll see drastic jumps in the coming months. One of the things, if you're currently running Facebook ads, this was interesting. So the tip that Facebook is saying is stay relevant with your consistent and extend your high performing ads. So Facebook itself is being just flooded with new requests for ads. Well, when that happens, your ad goes into a review phase if you've ever managed your own Facebook ads. And so you could potentially go under an ad review and it could last several days to a week or longer. So to avoid disruption in any of your ads right now, the Facebook Director of Product Management recommends that brands extend the delivery period of their best performing ads that happen prior to this, as new campaigns will be subject to a new review. Now, that's not to say don't run a new campaign, but it is saying that if you have some really great ads that are running right now, boost those ads and put your money behind those, and they'll deliver better than when you would potentially. I'm sorry, my son.
It's okay.
Jace, I'll let you jump in.
and it rolls perfectly into social media. And during this time, social media has just seen its numbers spike so high that we've never seen this before. And it's people turning to it to really trust it. A lot of people go to social media for their news. A lot of people have cut the cord on cable. And so we're rolling into Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to figure out what is happening. And so while consumer social media usage is greatly increasing, it is important for brands to evaluate and adjust their strategies and approaches across these platforms to make sure they're still connecting to their audiences and aligning their messaging with the realities of what normal is right now. And so 66% of social media users believe their usage habits will increase due to COVID-19. And then at the bottom there, you'll see some more statistics. Users are browsing more. 53% more people are on Facebook right now. 32% more on Instagram. Twitter has reported that daily usage is up 23% right now. So they're flocking to social media. It's a great time to just stay relevant. Like we talked about earlier, you don't want to be pushing things right now. You don't want to start new campaigns. You don't want to start new product pushes or anything like that. However, this is just a great time to be involved with your community, to be involved in keeping your brand alive and fighting for it and fighting for everything that you've worked so hard for. So be sure to do that.
So how can you stay innovative for your clients during this time? Bring your business to your clients. If people can't come to your business in person, think of creative ways that you can bring your business to them. So one of the things that Jace talked about is the hairstylists providing different ways. I've seen people who are showing women how to cut women's hair. That's been a hot topic in our home right now, that we need a haircut. How can we do that? If you're a restaurant or a coffee owner who's not able to serve customers right now, maybe you create a series of online classes to teach people how to make some of their favorite dishes at your restaurant. Stay relevant with them. Can you show people how to make their favorite coffee drink at home? And I wouldn't look at this as you're teaching people a way to not come back to your business. You're just connecting with them right now. People will crave to come back and eat their same meals at your restaurants. It will come back to your coffee shops, will come back to get their hair done. They just need a little help right now. So I wouldn't look at anything that you're doing to jeopardize business in the future. It's just building those relationships. If you operate a gym or a yoga studio, you can offer a live stream to members online. I've seen that for a lot of gyms right now, and a lot of services that are just connecting with their clients in a different way.
So that pretty much wraps up the body of the messaging that we wanted to share with y'all today. There's a lot to digest. I know the Chamber's going to make this available so that you can go back and review it. But we were talking about this yesterday, and one of the things that we all realize living here on the coast is that we are masters of resilience in the face of disaster. More than anybody probably in the country, we've had our share of disasters with hurricanes and oil spills and things that are unique to our area. So we adapt, we figure it out, we soldier on, we find the sweet spot that will move our businesses and our families forward. And this is just a new kind of disaster. The power's still on, we have water, we have food in the freezer that's not going to go bad, but this is a whole new set of variables. And I have no doubt, we have no doubt that our coast is going to problem solve in new ways to get through this and be stronger for it. And we just want to be here to help people if they need us. So with that, I think we're going to move into questions and answers.
Yes, thank you, Allison, Jace, and Haley. We do have an option for questions in the Q&A section if you have any questions. I have a quick one to get us started. So, people are trying to evolve and certainly I don't think their intent maybe to seem insensitive to the situation, but certainly trying to change their business and, some of their pricing and things just to stay viable. But should somebody launch a new product or a new service that seems insensitive to the situation and they really do get it wrong, how do they recover from that?
Being transparent. I mean, it's just a matter of seeing, how your audience, how your customer base has reacted to it. And then of course, just owning up to it and being transparent if that's something that you have to revert to and say, okay, we have to reevaluate what just rolled out and what we did. And that's the biggest thing. I mean, people, especially in the digital world and social media world that we live in now, people love transparency. They love to know that brands are honest. And so that's what I would recommend to anybody that finds themselves in that situation or in a conversation where someone might mention something like that, is own up to it and figure out, round back to kind of what we've talked about with messaging and how you can roll things out right now. That would be proper, and then move forward.
Great answer. A question from the floor is, how much social posting is too much? So much information to share, but people can get overwhelmed.
Well, one thing that people need to know is that Facebook only shows what you post to about 10% of your audience, even in the best of times. So it's not like when every time you make a post on a business type page that every single person who follows you sees every single post. So if you post 3 or 4 posts a day, if it's relevant content, it's not just being done because you want to fill up a quota to have a certain number of posts. If it's relevant stuff, it's probably going to go to a different set of people. Those 4 posts aren't going to be seen by the same people. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. And you'll get comments and feedback, and you'll know whether or not what you're posting is right.
Great. Any suggestions for tips for universities and colleges during this time?
What was that? I'm sorry.
Universities and colleges.
Yeah, kind of tips for them staying relevant.
Oh,
And,
there's a lot. I mean, I would listen to the students, and the questions that are the most frequently asked questions coming into the university, I would take that as an opportunity to answer those questions broadly for everybody.
And just being proactive about knowing what uncertainties are existing right now with your students and how you can get ahead of those uncertainties and go ahead and answer some of those questions, or say you're working on answers. I think that's one of the big things for a lot of people right now, is just not having some of the answers that they want. And if you don't have the answer, like Jay said, be transparent. Just say, we are working on a solution, or we're working towards an answer to this type of question or scenario.
Great suggestion.
I think that it's important for these universities to remind the students what they should be looking forward to when they come back to school. You know, whether if it's shots of campus, sports, student activities, certain things, just to send out a positive message of, here's what you're going to come back to once things do get back to a normal routine, and once you're able to get back on campus. Obviously, that ranges for different universities. We have some private universities. We have some universities without sports here in Mississippi and in our community colleges and everything. But it's just a matter of driving that, driving your faculty and your students to realize that they're going to be excited when they get to come back to school.
Great suggestions. Videos have been popular. Tips on doing good videos.
Lighting.
Yeah, lighting.
Yes, lighting is huge. Audio is huge as well.
Right.
You know, from shooting on your iPhone, of course, to if you have a DSLR, then obviously I would recommend shooting on that if you have that opportunity. But I mean, iPhones and smartphones, period, have great cameras. You do want to make sure that, you know, people can see you. You know, I've been in some Zoom conferences where, you know, it looks like just a silhouette for the most part. And so making sure lighting is good, making sure you're not speaking too loud or you're not speaking too low. If you're using just the microphone on your actual phone, in camera, you can honestly talk at a pretty normal tone and normal level. But mainly just making sure that the lighting on you and the lighting on whatever you're trying to showcase is good. And also practice. Like, you don't have to go live immediately, and you don't have to post the first video that you make. Practice with it, see what works, see what looks good, do an audit of what you've, you know, shot already in your shot list, and then move forward with that.
Hey, Jace, real quick, when you say lighting, but for me, for a long time, I had a question mark as to what to do. And tell them about the kind of lighting they can get, like at Best Buy or whatever. If they're going to be doing something that's for their clients, they may want to get a little bit of good lighting.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, they're very, you know, cheap cheap ways. I mean, there's opportunities for in the $40 to $60 range to get LED stands that you can use at home. A lot of people use them for podcasting. You know, we've used them for some of the PSAs that we've been doing here recently for some campaigns. And so, you know, investing in that is huge. You know, making those investments for recordings that you're going to put on social media and you're going to use to brand your business, it needs to look professional. And so there's tips and there's ways that, you know, if you would like to reach out to us and discuss that further, I'd love to discuss that with you. You know, but also if that isn't an opportunity for you right now, because a lot of people aren't spending money right now, just make sure that you're scouting your location. Even if you're by yourself in your house, scout your location, take a picture of where you're going to be, record where you're going to be, and check the lighting, check the audio. Is your air conditioner on? Is the dog barking? There's a lot of things.
I mean, if the weather's good, outdoor is great. And some of the best lighting during the day is in the morning and the late afternoon.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Great. What platform would you recommend using for going Facebook Live with a guest? This is from Jordan with Gulf Coast Hub. Would love to bring volunteers and nonprofit leaders on to discuss services they offer and how they are helping cope with COVID-19.
So with Facebook Live, I mean, Facebook Live would be on Facebook. Is that the question? Or
I would think, is there any special equipment or connection services that make that more efficient, possibly?
Yeah.
I would just make sure if you're going to be on Facebook Live, make sure you're connected to a wireless router. Make sure that your connection is good, because if it's not, then it's going to stop and it's just going to continue recording. But honestly, if you're going to try and do interviews and you're not doing them, you know, one-on-one in the same room, then obviously you have the opportunities with platforms like Zoom, and there's other platforms available that you're able to do that. As far as a Facebook Live, you know, if that would be something, you know, that you're in one spot, one location, you know, you would want to keep your distance, but you know, you definitely would do that straight from the platform for the most part.
Yeah, and there's some good microphones that you can use to plug right into your phone that make that sound a lot better.
Absolutely.
Okay, so should businesses continue using kind of traditional media resources and doing media and press releases for different promotions and opportunities as I've done in the past? Or are they just covering coronavirus and COVID information so heavily that it gets lost in the mix?
Well, I would say earned media, meaning the type of media you can get with a press release or just communicating with your local media about a story about your business or about something that happened that's a feel-good story. Those kinds of indirect messaging play better now than paid straight advertising.
Right.
Yeah, you definitely want to make sure that you understand what the news cycle is right now, and that is, you know, what is in your release that is going to be relevant to what is going on in the world currently, whether that's local news, regional news, or national news. Right now, we're all kind of in the same news cycle. And so as far as, you know, press releases right now, you do want to make sure that there is some relevancy or just some positive news in those releases. And so if it's about a new campaign or a product push, be careful.
And I think timing is a big thing too. I mean, we're pretty aware of the different press conferences that are held on a national and state level. They happen daily. So if you're going to release something, just be aware of the timing during the day that you would release that it wouldn't get lost possibly.
Great. I'm going to call for any other questions, final call for questions. Want to thank Jace and Allison and Haley for joining us today. That was a great presentation. We will post this, as I mentioned in the comments, on Facebook later today probably. I want you to stay tuned. This week we had some excellent videos on from Mississippi Department of Employment Securities and from Moore Hallmark with the U.S. Chamber, talking about unemployment benefits as well as, you know, small business resources through the CARES Act and kind of explaining and navigating those. So please go to our Facebook and check those out. Next week we have several good topics coming out. Our content calendar will be out probably either later today or tomorrow, but just a preview of that. Tuesday at 8:30, we'll have a coffee chat that's similar to our chamber after 5. Wednesday at 10:30, we are going to have tips from Carmelita J. Scott on working from home. She's been working from home before this happened, so she is certainly an expert on it. And then we are going to have Thursday at 10 a.m. and Ask the Experts with Angeline Trutel-Zerang, Zerang Trutel, to talk about, what do you need to know about insurance? What about business interruption? Should you be shopping your policies right now? So please look forward to those to come out and register for those. And thank you all and have a great day.
Thank you.